Okay, Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. So now we are going into the next topic, which is topic 4, theory of consumer behavior. Okay, so in this subject, we are basically going to learn about two individual units in the economy, which are consumers as well as producers. So in this chapter, we are going to look at how a consumer behaves in the economy. So I have briefed in the early semester that what we are going to look at, okay, in this topic is basically on uh, how a consumer makes decision in the economy in terms of what to buy, okay, how much to buy, and what are the level of satisfaction that the consumer will get after buying a certain product. Okay, so that is basically what we are going to learn in this topic. So this topic is actually uh, you will actually learn about yourself. Okay, you are a consumer in the economy, so it's actually easy to relate this topic with you, okay, yourself as a consumer in the economy. Okay, so consumer behavior, it refers to the study of consumer while engaged in the process of consumption. So consumer is related to consumption lah. Okay, so the role of consumer in the economy is to consume a product or to buy a product and consume the product. Okay, so we want to see what are the things that we have to look at, okay, in terms of consumers consumption of a certain product. Okay, so we are going to look at the first the term here, okay, which is utility. Okay, so utility is highly related to consumer because it means, okay, utility here means satisfaction. Okay, satisfaction, so it is a term to explain or to elaborate on satisfaction level of satisfaction level by consumers when the consumers consume a certain product. Okay, so now we want to see the two approaches, okay, or the two theories related to utility or satisfaction. Okay, so the first one is cardinal approach. Okay, so cardinal approach here, it says that utility is measurable, meaning you can measure your satisfaction level, and you can measure it by placing a number of alternatives so that the utility can be added. And the index to measure utility here, to measure utility using cardinal approach or based on cardinal approach, you can measure utility by putting a unit to it, which is utils. For example, if I consume, this is cardinal approach. Okay, cardinal approach. If I consume one piece of apple, let's say my satisfaction or my utility is 5 utils. Okay, and if I consume more apple, let's say I add one more unit of apple. Okay, if I consume 2 apples, of course my satisfaction will increase, my satisfaction level will increase. Okay, so let's say my satisfaction level increase from 5 to 8 utils, for example. And if I consume even more, let's say 3 apples, my utility will increase and increase. Okay, so that is using cardinal approach. So we are going to look at the detail of cardinal approach in the next slides later on. Okay, and then the next approach or the next theory is the ordinal approach or the ordinal theory, which says that utility or satisfaction cannot be measured, meaning you cannot measure your level of satisfaction, but you can make comparisons, okay, on which product gives you more satisfaction and which product gives you less satisfaction. That is the basic or the concept of ordinal approach. Okay, so ordinal approach, okay, it says, for example, okay, it says here, ordinal approach uses the ranking of alternatives as first, second, third, and so on. Let's say if I like rice more than noodles, and I like noodle more than spaghetti, for example. Okay, so how do I rank my satisfaction based on ordinal approach is, I will rank based on which product gives me more satisfaction, which product that I like the most, and which product that give me lesser satisfaction. So the satisfaction level is based on which product I like the most lah. So for example, if I rank here, the first option, okay, if I have 3 options, my first pick is rice, because I like rice the most as compared to the other 2. So when I consume rice, it will give me the highest satisfaction. The second rank would be noodle, based on this statement here. Okay, so the third one, the last one is spaghetti, which give me the least satisfaction as compared to rice and noodle. So I can do a ranking on which product gives me the highest satisfaction and which product gives me less satisfaction. So this is using ordinal approach, and this is cardinal approach. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go on cardinal approach first. Okay, so I'm going to cover on cardinal approach. So cardinal approach, just now it says that satisfaction or utility can be measured. Okay, so let's say you are given the units of a certain product, and you are given the satisfaction level in terms of utils. So you can actually calculate the total utility, and you can calculate marginal utility. So usually in the question, if I give you a set of questions for this example, total utility will be given to you. Okay, let's say for example like this, 1 apple will give you 5 utils, 2 apples will give you 8 utils. So this one will be given to you. So what you need to do is you need to calculate, or you need to measure the marginal utility. Okay, so what do we mean by marginal utility? Okay, let me erase this one first. Okay, so what do we mean by marginal utility? It is the additional of total utility as a result of consuming 1 more units of the same good or services. Meaning, if you consume more of a certain product, you will get additional utility, additional satisfaction. So let's say if I use this example here, I want to calculate the marginal utility. Okay, so the formula for marginal utility is the change in total utility divided with the change in the total quantity of the products that you consume. Okay, so let's say now I consume 1 apple, I get 5 utils, and if I add another 1 apple, I will get additional 3 utils. So I will get 8 utils if I consume 2 apples. So to calculate the additional utility, the additional satisfaction that I will get if I consume more of apple, is the change in total utility. So how to calculate the change in total utility? Is 8 minus 5. And the change in the total quantity, which is 2 apples minus 1 apple. So you get here 3 over 1. So my marginal utility is 3. Okay, meaning if I consume more, if I consume 1 additional unit of apple, I will get additional 3 utils. So this is the marginal utility that I get when I consume 1 more unit of apple. Okay, so that is what we mean by marginal utility. Look at the next slide, which is on the law of diminishing marginal utility. Okay, so what do we mean by the term diminishing? Okay, diminishing here means decreasing. Okay, so it says here that marginal utility, at a certain point, marginal utility will start to diminish or will start to decrease. Okay, so what is law of diminishing marginal utility? It is the additional benefit which a person derives from a given increase of a stock decrease with every increase in the stock that he already has. Okay, so the second statement here is a bit clearer as compared to the first statement. Okay, it says that the law of diminishing marginal utility states that as consumption increases more and more, marginal utility will be less and less. Okay, so if I give you an example, so just now we have consumption of apple here. Okay, so you can see when you consume 1 unit of apple, you get 5 utils, okay, level of satisfaction. And then if you consume 2 apples, you get 8 utils. And let's say if you consume 3 apples, you will get, for example, 9 utils. Okay, and if you consume 4 apples, okay, assuming that consuming 4 apples will make yourself full, okay, will make your tummy feel like it's full already. So what will happen is consuming 4 units of apples will no longer give you additional satisfaction. You will still get the same level of satisfaction. Okay, maksudnya you dah kenyang lah. Okay, you don't want to consume any more apples. Okay, because it will not give you additional satisfaction. So what you can see here is the satisfaction, okay, is not changing or is not increasing anymore. So this is the level where the marginal utility will be 0. And if you calculate the marginal utility here, okay, let me clear this one first. Okay, so from here to here, if you consume from 1 apple to 2 apples, you will get additional, okay, the marginal utility is 3. Okay, and if you consume from 2 apples to, you add 1 more apple and you get 3 apples, meaning you are consuming 3 apples, the additional satisfaction that you will get is 1 utils. And if you consume 3 apples, from 3 apples to 4 apples, your marginal utility will be 0. 9 minus 9. Okay, so you can see here that the first one unit of apple that you consume, you will get additional 3 satisfaction, 3 utils. You consume 1 more unit, your marginal utility becomes lesser, which is 1. And then you consume another one, you will no longer be satisfied. Okay, or you will no longer have the additional satisfaction from consuming apples. So you can see that the marginal utility is decreasing here. Okay, alright, so now let's look at this example from this slide. Let me delete this one first. Okay, so you can see here the consumption of apples from 1 unit to 8 units, okay, which is a lot. Okay, so imagine yourself eating 8 pieces of apples. Okay, you will bloat your tummy, okay, logically. Alright, so let's look at here. Let's say you are given the total utility. 1 unit of apple will give you 20 utils. Okay, 2 unit of apples will give you 35 utils. Okay, and the total utility will keep increasing until it reaches 1 point. It will start to be constant, and from that point onwards, your total utility will decrease. Okay, so from here, from this data here, you can calculate the marginal utility. So the first marginal utility is 20. Okay, 20 is obtained by reducing 20 with 0, because you don't have consumption before this, so your utility will be 0, and 1 minus 0, so you will get 20 here. Okay, so this is how to calculate marginal utility. You have to refer to this slide just now. Okay, so you get this figures here. So you can see that the marginal utility, when you consume from 1 unit of apple to 4 units of apple, your marginal utility is decreasing. And here you can see that total utility is not changing. Okay, meaning you consume from 4 units of apples to 5 units of apples, your satisfaction will no longer increase. So your marginal utility will start to be 0 because your total utility is no longer changing. Okay, so 50 minus 50. Okay, and from here, from consuming 6 units of apples until 8 units of apples, you can see that the total utility is decreasing. Therefore, your marginal utility will be negative. Okay, so this is what we mean by diminishing marginal utility. Okay, your additional satisfaction eventually will keep decreasing as you consume more and more unit of a certain product. Okay. Okay, so let's say if you were to illustrate this data here, okay, of total utility and marginal utility on the graph. Okay, so let's say I draw a separate graph for total utility and a separate graph for marginal utility. Okay, just to show you the differences or the relationship between total utility and marginal utility. Okay, so let's say I draw the curve for total utility first. Okay, so when there is 1 unit of apple, or when the consumer consumes 1 unit of apple, the total utility is 20. So let's say I plot it here, and then 2 apples 35, 3 apples 45, 4 apples 50, 5 apples also 50. Okay, because the total utility will no longer change here. 6 apples 45. Okay, somewhere here. 7 apples 35, and 8 apples 20 total utility. So when you connect the points, you will have a concave total utility curve. Okay, so you can see that total utility increase, and then it is constant when the consumer consumes 5 units of apples, and then the total utility start to decrease because the consumer is no longer satisfied, okay, from consuming the unit of apples. Okay, and then for marginal utility, when the unit of apple is 1, marginal utility is 20. So here, and then 2 units of apple, marginal utility is 15, 3, 10, then 4 units of apples, the marginal utility is 5, somewhere here. Okay, 5 units of apples, the marginal utility is 0, and then when the consumer consumes 6 units of apple, the marginal utility becomes negative. So negative 5 is here, and then negative 10, then negative 15. So you connect the points. Okay, so you will get when you connect the points, you will get the marginal utility curve, which is decreasing, and then it reaches 0, and further than that, it reaches negative. So if you want to see the relationship between total utility and marginal utility, okay, so you look at this slide. So this graph combines both total utility and marginal utility in one graph. Okay, so let's say you see when total utility is increasing, the marginal utility will be positive. So you can see here, when total utility is increasing from here up until here, the marginal utility is at the positive axis. Okay, and then when total utility is at maximum, okay, when total utility is at maximum, the marginal utility will be 0. So the total utility is at maximum here. Okay, when the consumer consumes 5 units of apples. Okay, so that is the highest satisfaction that the consumer can get, which is 50 utils. So at that point, okay, what you can see is here your marginal utility will be 0. Okay, and then when total utility starts to decrease because the consumer is already full, for example, so the consumer will no longer get satisfaction from consuming additional unit of apples. So the marginal utility will be negative. So you can see here when total utility is decreasing, the marginal utility starts to be negative. Okay, at this point. So you have three different stages of changes in the total utility and marginal utility. Okay. Okay, now let's put yourself in a situation as a consumer where you have limited income or limited pocket money, for example, and you want to consume different types of products. Okay, let's say product A, product B, and product C. Okay, so how do you make sure that with the limited income that you have, you can consume the three products and the three products will give you the same level of satisfaction? Okay, let's say I put it here, product A, okay, product A, product B, and product C. Okay, so how many of product A, product B, and product C will you have to consume so that you can get the same level of satisfaction? Okay, with the limited income that you have. So that can be explained using law of equimarginal utility. Okay, marginal utility. So there are two conditions that you have to fulfill. The first condition is every ringgit spent on every commodity must yield the same marginal utility. Okay, so let's say you calculate the marginal utility for product X, and then you divide with the price of product X. Okay, it must be the same with the marginal utility per price for product Y, and it must also be the same with the marginal utility per price for product Z, for example. Okay, so the marginal utility for X, marginal utility per price for X, Y, and Z must be the same. Okay, and the second condition here is total expenditure of all goods must be equal to the total budget allocated to maximize utility. So the situation that I give just now is you have limited income. So let's say, for example, you have RM 50 ringgit. So the consumption of X, Y, and Z must fulfill this RM 50 ringgit. You have to maximize the budget that you have, okay, to get the highest level of satisfaction. Okay, now let's look at an example to explain the law of equimarginal utility. So let's say you are given here an example. Arvin, which is a consumer, has an income of RM 37 ringgit. Okay, and the prices of good P, Q, and R are RM5, RM1, and 4 respectively. So Arvin's income is RM37. Okay, and the price of product P is RM5. The price of product Q is RM1. The price of product R is RM4. So let's say Arvin wants to consume these three products P, Q, and R with the limited income that Arvin has, and we want to know how much of product P, Q, and R should Arvin buy, okay, to maximize her satisfaction. Okay, so now you have to look at the previous slide just now. You have to fulfill the two conditions. The first condition is every ringgit spent on every commodity or every product must yield the same marginal utility. Okay, usually in a question, what you will be given is the quantity of the product as well as the total utility. So you are given here the total utility for product P, the total utility for product Q, and the total utility for product R. Okay, so what you need to do is you have to calculate the marginal utility per price. Okay, first you have to calculate the marginal utility. Okay, and then you divide with the price of the product. So price of P is RM5. So each of the marginal utility you have to divide with 5. So you get these figures here. Okay, and then for product Q also you have to calculate the marginal utility per price and marginal utility per price for product R as well. Okay, so once you have this complete table here, okay, what you have to do is you have to fulfill the first condition. So the first condition says it must yield the same marginal utility per price. So what you need to do is you have to find the marginal utility per price, the same level of marginal utility per price for each product. So what I find from this table is this figure here, 4, 4 and 4. So the marginal utility per price for product P is 4, product Q is 4, and product R is also 4. Okay, so that is one combination. Okay, so from this combination, I have to take note on how much of product P, Q, and R can be bought. Okay, so here for product P, when the marginal utility per price is 4, the quantity is 2. Okay, so for, let's say I put as combination, the first combination, combination 1. Okay, so the marginal utility per price for P is 4. So the quantity of product P is 2. Okay, and then when the marginal utility per price is 4, the quantity for product Q is 4. Okay, so product Q is 4 units. Okay, and then when the marginal utility per price is 4 here, the quantity for product R is 1. Okay, so product R, the quantity is 1 unit. Okay, so meaning if Arwin consume 2 units of product P, 4 units of product Q, and 1 unit of product R, Arwin will get the same level of satisfaction, which is 4 utils. Okay, now let's look at another combination that we can get from this table here. Okay, let's say I clear this one first. Okay, here. Okay, so another combination that I can find from this table is when the marginal utility per price is equal to 3 utils. So for P, the MU over P is 3, for Q, the MU over P is 3, and for R also, the marginal utility per price MU over P is also 3. So for product P, when the marginal utility per price is 3, the quantity is 4. Okay, so that is the second combination. Okay, combination 2. The quantity of P that Arwin can consume or buy is 4 units. Okay, and then for product Q, when the marginal utility per price is 3, the quantity of product Q is 5. Okay, and for product R, when the marginal utility per price is 3, the quantity is 3. Okay, meaning if Arwin consumes 4 units of P, 5 units of Q, and 3 units of R, okay, Arwin will also get the same level of satisfaction. So meaning Arwin can choose either combination 1 or combination 2. Okay, Arwin can buy either product P, Q and R from combination 1 or product P, Q, R from combination 2. So this one has fulfilled the first condition. Okay, condition 1. Okay, now we want to fulfill the second condition, okay, in which the total expenditure of all goods must be equal to the total budget, okay, allocated to maximize the utility. Meaning, to maximize satisfaction and to maximize the budget, okay, Arwin must fully utilize his ataupun her income. If Arwin has 37, meaning Arwin has to spend all 37 to maximize his utility. Okay, so now how do we know which combination, either combination 1 or combination 2, will fulfill the budget that Arwin have? So we have to multiply with the price of each product lah. Okay, so now what you need to do is you multiply each of the combination of products with the price. So this one is 2 just now, I deleted. Okay, so you look at the price of product P, Q and R and then you multiply. So for combination 1, okay, Arwin will consume or can buy 2 units of product P, and product P, each unit the price is RM 5. So the total expenditure here would be RM 10. And product Q, the price is RM 1 and Arwin can purchase 4 units. So the total would be 4 ringgit spending on product Q. And then product R, the price is RM 4 and Arwin can buy 1. Okay, so RM 4, so the spending is RM 4. So the total spending, if Arwin choose to buy combination 1, would be RM 18 ringgit. Okay, and then for combination 2, okay, you multiply with the same price lah. For P, the price is RM 5. Okay, so the total expenditure for P is RM 20. And then for product Q, the price is RM 1. Multiply with RM 1, so you get RM 5. And then product R, the price is RM 4, so 3 times 4 is RM 12. So the total that you will get here is RM 37 ringgit. So which combination should Arwin choose to fulfill the 2 conditions just now, maximizing utility, okay, in terms of marginal utility per price and in terms of the budget? So the most suitable combination that Arwin should choose is combination 2, because Arwin can maximize the utility by purchasing 4 units of P, 5 units of Q and 3 units of R with the budget that Arwin has. Okay, so maximizing utility and utilizing the budget that he has. Okay, so that one fulfill the 2 condition. This is the first condition. This is fulfilling the second condition. Okay, so that is what we mean by law of equimarginal utility.